Hi, and welcome to Fedmail. Thank you for joining us on this Friday afternoon. Shabbat Shalom to you on this very special Shabbat, Shabbat Shuvah, the Shabbat in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I remember growing up, special Shabbat Shuvah services were held in a very small shul in the middle of a farm field, and the building itself, the shul, dated back to the 1880s. It had been built by Jewish immigrants from the Pale of Settlement, and services were only held there once a year on this special Shabbat. Very memorable for me, so I wish you, certainly wish you a good Shabbos this evening. A lot going on around the world. First and foremost, this weekend marks the 81st anniversary of the massacre at Babi Yar. Babi Yar is a ravine outside of the Ukrainian capital of Kiev. And 1941, in the last few days of September 28th, 29th, 30th, Nazi forces, along with Ukrainian collaborators at that time, put up notices requiring that all of the Jewish inhabitants of the city were to meet at the local Jewish cemetery, which was on the outskirts of the city. And this was 1 or 2 days before Yom Kippur, so obviously heightened significance to the calendar at that time as well. Ultimately, the Jewish inhabitants of the city, 33,771 approximately, were marched to this ravine and machine gunned to death in what was known as the Holocaust of bullets, the early stages of the Shoah, of the Holocaust. And this, of course, was 1941. So if you know your timeline, the war began in 1939. Nazis came to power in 1933. At this point, it was 1941, and the Einsatzgruppen, groups of soldiers specifically designated to carry out genocide, to carry out the mass killings, took part in this. And if you watch the Ken Burns U.S. and the Holocaust special, you'll note that when they talk about this particular incident, the horror of it, for us, the soldiers who took part in it oftentimes wrote home, discussing what they had been engaged in when they wrote home to their girlfriends or to their families. So just a terrible memory. Up to that point, it was the largest massacre of any single day in the war. And again, 34,000 victims of this Holocaust by bullet. So we certainly mark that day. Also, of course, want to acknowledge the destruction and devastation wrought by Hurricane Ian that made landfall over the last few days in Florida and is now headed to the Carolinas, it appears. Jewish Federations of North America, along with our partners down in Florida, in South Florida, are engaged in major relief efforts. A donation system has been put in place. You can visit our Facebook group to find that. So just find Jewish Federation of Central Mass on Facebook. You'll be able to find that donation link. Should be simple enough to make a donation, and I certainly encourage you to do so. I also want to remind you or bring up the ongoing situation in Russia. As I noted last week and in my remarks over the holidays when I spoke at several of our congregations, Vladimir Putin called up a major reserve group, basically is conscripting people into the Russian army, and that has caused a lot of concern and panic among the Jewish community. So our partner organizations are on the ground there helping to assist and facilitate Aliyah. And I also want to point out and make note that in Putin's high holiday address or address to the Jewish community, he made threatening remarks that the Jewish community of Russia needed to stand behind the country more and stand more in support of what was going on in Ukraine. So that was really troubling. And there have also been remarks made by levels of the administration that are akin to that, that were viewed as threats within the Jewish community there. So that's obviously an ongoing situation, and our partners who have expertise working on the ground there are working around the clock to facilitate Aliyah and make sure that the Jewish community remains protected. There are several things taking place this weekend and into the coming week. I want to alert you to it. First of all, on October 1st, tomorrow, October 1st, at 7 p.m., there is a sweet New Year dessert reception sponsored by the Havarim Group. Havarim is a group of those folks who have graduated out of the young adult division, not quite yet into their senior years. So it encompasses a large swath of the demographic. But in any event, getting together October 1st, 7 p.m., Sweet New Year dessert reception, and that is being held at the new Edgemere Crossing, a new development off of Route 20 near Flint Pond, basically in between Flint Pond and Route 20. Sounds great, and you get a chance to see what the grounds look like there. On Sunday, October 2nd at 10 a.m., B'nai B'rith Cemetery is holding their annual High Holiday service. So make sure that you come out to that if you have loved ones at B'nai B'rith, or if you'd like to just take part in that service. On Sunday, October 2nd, also at 4:30 p.m., Sheer Joy, our community choir, is holding a community sing-along. Again, 4:30 p.m. That will be held at Congregation B'nai Shalom. What else do we have going on? Saturday, October 1st, there is also a early childhood program. The Westboro Area Early Childhood Program is holding a get-together, a service for the high holidays at Lake Chauncey Beach. And that is at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, Lake Chauncey Beach. Early childhood folks, early childhood families in the Westboro area, we'd love to see you. Coming up on October 11th, an important one, the Mystery Book Club next meeting. That's sponsored by Hadassah. That's coming up October 11th. And this particular author, who I believe is Marcy McCleary, she is going to be talking about a book that she wrote that takes place in the Catskills. So sounds great, and we look forward to that. October 11th, Mystery Book Club. And then last but not least, we welcomed our new Shlicha, Tomi Ben-Basat, into the community, and we are looking for various people to host her for luncheons, dinners, Shabbat dinners, and we'd love to have you meet her. So please get in touch with us if you'd like to do that, and we certainly encourage it. And really, last but not least now, November 19th, Torathon. Mark your calendars. Back and better than ever, in person. Can't wait for it. Look forward to it. In the meantime, have a good Shabbos. As I mentioned before, special Shabbat next week, Yom Kippur. May you be inscribed in the Book of Life. Be inscribed for a good, healthy, happy year ahead. Lots of love to you and your family. Thank you for supporting Jewish life in Central, Mass, and beyond. Take care. Easy fast. Meaningful fast. Bye-bye.